Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Matty B. And you had a big weekend, Matt. I'll let you shine this week on the show. I know you probably want to talk about the Taylor Swift marriage at Madison Square Garden. I know how much you like the reality TV.
It was a great weekend. I was glad that I was able to be there. Just wasn't allowed to talk about it due to my NDA. So, sorry you weren't able to make it.
Yeah, I never would have got an invite. Who would have known some little guy from Cincinnati would have been able to marry Taylor Swift? After I saw like someone posted this thing, it was like all it took was some crazy man that no one even knew existed to like start talking about how he wanted to marry Taylor Swift on some podcast for it to come true. And it was like, speak your truth. And I was like, is that how they met? Did he go on a podcast and talk about how he wanted to marry Taylor Swift? Because I doubt he talked about marrying her at Madison Square Garden. And then someone else posted a picture of him and his brother at Cincinnati. And they said, like, who would have guessed one of these guys would have married Taylor Swift and the other one would have been listed as one of the sexiest men in America? I thought, bro, yeah, obviously they just, it's going to trigger me. Because his brother only got known after he started dating Taylor Swift. Right? He was with the Eagles. He was like, oh, I'm not going to play anymore. I'm going to retire. And then people were like saying stuff like, people should talk about how great his wife is. And I thought, who wants to hear how great anyone's wife is? Why do they care? I don't understand it. I really don't understand why people care who athletes are marrying and how happy their life is. Because on the other hand, you have Antonio Brown that everyone just for whatever reason hates. And they're just like always threatening him online and saying like, you're a loser. Like you threw your life away and all this stuff. And I saw someone was like saying that they shouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame because of like his flame outs. And then they were comparing him to like Julio Jones, which is Julio Jones even in the Hall of Fame? When did he retire? Because I know you have to wait a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's not eligible. He was still playing a year or two ago.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was like a thing where him and AB are going for the Hall of Fame, but I thought I can't even go online and like watch any sports content because there shouldn't really be a debate. I think someone put together a list of all like his stretch with the Steelers, Antonio Brown, and the only person that was better, I think, was Randy Moss. Like his first 6 years or whatever, where he had like 77 touchdowns. And then they said that Antonio Brown's best, he had like 66 touchdowns, which is like the same as Julio Jones's entire career. Was like Antonio Brown's Ben Roethlisberger thing. So I don't know if they're trying to get in, or I don't even know what the Hall of Fame thing, because I had some people reach out about the show last week. Because first off, I wasn't really complaining about the FIFA experience going to a game. Like I enjoyed going to the World Cup. And I do recommend going. There's just a difference between the atmosphere where I was expecting more of like the other countries like culture there. Right? Like if I go to a college football tailgate, let's say I go to like Clemson, right? They're going to have a distinctive tailgate. You go to Penn State, everyone's tailgating like in a field. It's different than Michigan where like you're in a town. And so you have like that feel that I didn't really get from the World Cup. Now, some of the other things that I think I talked about, it looked like they did remove rows from the Atlanta stadium. And I don't even know if I mentioned this, but they had the temperature up, which I think played a role in like some of the atmosphere stuff. And so they were playing on real grass. I think we mentioned that. But the temperature was like, it made the humidity higher. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to like make it so that all the fields have the same feel. For the World Cup, that's important. For the NFL or like college football, to me, that's like more of like a home field advantage thing. Right. It hits more in the NFL. Like, okay, our field, we play in negative 10 degrees here in Green Bay. Yeah, that's a playoff home field advantage. If you don't want them to play in that cold temperature, have a better record in the regular season. Like that's an incentive where the World Cup, they really don't have all of that. And so I think, yeah, if you're going to like a game now, even with the price of tickets, I think you're going to have fans that are priced out, and you're getting to the point where you're going to a college bowl game or NFL Super Bowl type experience where it's going to be more stale. Or even like an NFL experience, like in like a London game, right? It's more of like an exhibition feel was my only critique on it. But I would go back, and it honestly had me thinking that maybe I should check out MLS. And I was talking to a business owner down here, and he's convinced that the WNBA is coming to Raleigh. And I couldn't find any info on that because I thought, should I bring that up on the show? Because they were talking about what I was saying about the World Cup, right? Listening to, because we went to the Hurricane, so like to listen to the show for a while, and then was mentioning that what's going to happen if when the WNBA comes to Raleigh, like, are we going to cover it on the show? And I said, I don't know. Would I go to a WNBA game? Right? There's going to be like a difference there. And I try to crunch into the numbers because as we do this show longer, I get like more people reaching out to like listen to different sports, and we'll say things like, hey, why don't you talk about tennis? I don't really know anyone that watches tennis. Right? Like, hey, because I know at the end of each show I ask like, hey, what should we talk about in the off season? And people are like, you should talk about tennis or golf. And like, to me, then I have to watch it. Right? I don't like bringing in stuff that we don't watch because then it's weird. It's like forced. Yeah, I like our show. It's more like hanging out with us, you know, like at the bar or something where you're giving insights. Matt's big time coach. So you get some coaching insights. I'm more of an analytics guy. So you get that part of it. Outside of like bringing in other sports, man. Yeah, that's a good idea. But I'd rather talk about like, I don't want to say Taylor Swift's marriage, right? I don't care about that. But like if there's some other college like NFL stuff that's coming up in the off season that you catch that might be better for some of those. Because like I said, we started ranking on some football top podcast lists. And so bringing in other sports probably isn't just going to be it. Now, because I live in Raleigh, hitting up the Hurricanes, yeah, that's a different thing, right? We've always talked about hockey, talked about the Pittsburgh Penguins. The longer I live away from Pennsylvania, you just naturally don't watch as much, right?
I do remember you had to make more of a concerted effort to really follow the Pittsburgh teams. And I think like you're seeing that more so now with how much streaming is involved with stuff that you have to buy 14 different packages if you want to watch because of the local broadcasting rights.
And do you still have cable?
We have a real basic cable package just because of our internet.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of people that are going back to that, which is why I asked, because I still haven't. I still do the streaming. I was looking at trying to figure out how many Big Ten football games are going to be on each channel, right? Because I think Walmart has a thing where like if you pay their $50, you get a year of like either Paramount Plus or the Peacock TV app, which I think has a lot of the Big Ten. And so I was like, is it worth it just to do that for a year? And then what happens next year? Right? Because I think we did it the Olympics a couple years ago. I did that NBC deal. It was like $20 or something for the year. And knowing that there were going to be at least 5 football games that I would want to see. Cheaper than going out to the bar to watch it, right? Or going out to like a restaurant or something. Or heck, even going to the game. Like $20 for the year, like, oh, I can get that. And if they show basketball games, like that's a double whammy. But the WNBA, circling back around to that, yeah, they're looking to expand. I really don't know. And I crunched some of these numbers, Matt, because I knew I had people ask. Like golf gets a little bit better TV ratings than I thought. Depending on the event. A lot of them, you're just under 1 million people, which then you're getting into like the niche, like when we talk about college hockey randomly. yeah, you're going to have fans of certain teams, but if your team's not in it, like if a guy you don't, it's not like Tiger Woods numbers where he's bringing people in. And it's the same with tennis. They're all over the map. Serena Williams comes back. They're getting close to 2 million people. And I just laugh because I have had people be like, why'd you watch that Northwestern football game? And you look at TV ratings, it's like 5 million people watch that with me. Right? It wasn't just me. Watching tennis is like, why did you watch it? Right? Watching World Cup. Yeah, it's a thing. Now everyone of the United States lost. I'm glad we didn't record early because we had talked about it, but I wanted to see how the USA would do. We got the USA team that I expected in the World Cup, which is why I brought up going to the game. Because a lot of people were like, how did you pick that game? Honestly, I had a group of friends, we talked about this for years, where we wanted to go see the United States play in the World Cup. The United States team looked so bad in the CONCACAF or whatever it's called, where they're like qualifying. I want to say the United States finished 5th out of 6 teams. That's how bad they were in qualifying. To the point where if they weren't the host, I honestly don't even know if the United States would have made the World Cup. And they missed it like 2 years ago or whenever that was, because we had originally talked about maybe traveling to see one of them. It wasn't the one in Qatar. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember how it lines up, because we've been talking about this for like over a decade or two, trying to see the United States play. And so when we were looking at teams, I know I mentioned like, oh, maybe we'll go see Poland or go see Ireland. Those were the teams I wanted to see because I had already given up on going to see the United States. I didn't want to fly all the way to LA to watch us lose to like some team. I mean, no offense to like Bosnia or something, but like that's who we're playing like the first round. I didn't want to fly out west to watch us get upset by Bosnia in the first round of the knockout stage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the truth. I don't, because I mean, some of my favorite Michigan games were like the wins, but like, yeah, driving out and seeing us lose to Ohio State. Yeah, I was at an Ohio State Michigan game. Great, we lost. Like, there's not going to be a memory of like, yeah, we almost won that game. Like, how's it the game we almost won? Like, no one talks like that, right? Like, nah, yeah, we lost. So a lot of my top games I had mentioned before, it's like, yeah, I'm going to bring up the wins. Like, that's going to be the most memorable. So like, if I'm going out to see the United States in our own country, I expect us to have a good team. Surprisingly, I really liked our coach. I know they said that he might not be back. The Russell Crowe looking guy, right? He's not even from here. He's like from somewhere in South America. I want to say Argentina, but I'm not sure. So he brought an attacking style to those first couple games that I was really regretting not going, even for the group stage. I didn't want us to go see us playing a draw. Yeah, I flew out and watched us like tie with some other small team, or like even Australia. Like they're ranked lower than us. I expect us to beat them. And so when we did beat those teams, then I thought maybe our team's going to be good. And I was honestly thinking, like, if the miracle happens, could I swing it and go see the United States like in the finals? I wouldn't have gone to see them in anything else. And of course, we don't know the ticket prices. It could really depend, because like when Argentina was losing today, the tickets for the next round in Atlanta, I was keeping an eye on them. Or maybe it was in Atlanta. Maybe they don't play in Atlanta next time. Whatever their next round game is, maybe it's in Kansas City. The tickets were going for like under $1,000 for like that round too. So like you got to kind of keep an eye on it, where if the United States is advancing, yeah, it's going to be more money probably. It probably price me out. I'm not going to spend like $5,000 on tickets or something crazy like that. But to have a chance to go see us win something, that would matter. So I didn't want to like not go at all. So that's why we just picked a game to go see. Yeah, we got to see the World Cup. Didn't get to see any of the countries that we wanted to see, but got to experience it. Had a great time. And I mean, people still come up and like ask about like, hey, I saw you went to the World Cup. Like, yeah, awesome. Like, how did you pull it off? Just like any other sporting event, dude. Go on like 800 ticket sites and compare the prices and wait for them to go down. That's the same as like going for a bowl game, or like if you're going to go for the ACC championship, wait until like a Clemson or Florida State chokes early in the season and then buy your tickets when they're like $9 and you're like, all right, I'm locked in, baby. And then if they don't make it, then you're only out $9. Right? That's the advice to tell people. But the ratings, like compared to soccer, and everyone's saying like, well, how can you fix U.S. soccer? How could they win? I expected us to get blown out almost every game. So the fact that we had momentum, I don't care about the red card thing. I don't like how like Trump stepped in and everyone was saying like, oh, he like is ruining the game. I just wish the United States, like, who's in charge of our United States program? Right? Why does it take the president to come in? It's like if, our team, like the coach doesn't stand up for the player, but then like the owner would come out like in an NFL game and say like, he should be playing or something. It's just a weird look. And so to me, that's the problem. There's no leadership from like the United States soccer. And the one thing that I know a lot of parents complain about and stuff is like the buy-in to like the club systems. And I've heard people say, well, it works for basketball for AAU. It absolutely doesn't work there. Right? Having people pay to go to all these tournaments and you're spending 10 grand and you're watching your kid play travel baseball or basketball or soccer where they're not getting developed. Right? There's no way a kid's going to be able to get pulled out. And it's any parent that's like, my kid might be good enough. I just think, and I hate to be negative, but like, I would just say like, no, it's not going to happen to you. Right? Is he out there? He has to put in the work at some point. Like, is he waking up and going outside? Like, I used to go outside and hit baseballs or rocks or wiffle balls like every day. No one had to tell me like, yo, go hit. And I'm still a pretty good hitter, even after not like doing anything for like years. Once you get so many hours in, that's just it. It's like someone that like played piano for like a bazillion years. They go to a bar and they can like hammer out at least one tune and sound pretty good doing it. Like, yeah, if you put in thousands of hours, you can take a little bit of a break. Now, maybe you need some warm-ups. But like, you can't tell me like if Barry Bonds walked into like some celebrity softball, there's not a good chance he'd hit a home run. Yeah, there is. Right? I'll be backing up unless I don't get cracked in the face. Like, I might not be able to catch the ball or have trouble fielding, but dude, I can at least hit the ball and I know I'm going to hit it hard. Right? Because I have the experience and I have put in so many hours on mine. And that's the difference, I think, when parents are like, well, I want my kid to be good at soccer, but does your kid want to be good at soccer? Well, I don't know. I'm just going to pay $10,000, put him in this academy program or the MLS. And that's where I've talked about wanting to have an MLS team in Raleigh before. Yeah, having a team that's kind of close by is different. Like, if you're a fan of a team far away, like right now, Major League Baseball, fan of the Atlanta Braves. I've always been an Atlanta fan. If they bring a team into Raleigh tomorrow, I'd probably easily switch to the local team. Why? Because first off, there's no Major League Baseball team close enough for me to drive to. Like, Atlanta's supposed to be our team. It's like a 6-hour drive. That's not really like an easy day trip to like, hey, you want to go see our team play? Yeah, it's not going to happen. Right? And they put one in Charlotte, That's a little bit different. It's still a 2-hour drive. It's kind of like when I lived in Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, grew up. Anytime the Braves came to town, I wasn't going to cheer for the Pirates. I've probably seen more Pirates games randomly just because that was the closest team. But I would say most of the games I went to were Braves games. And I know a lot of friends I grew up with, all of our favorite team was the Braves. And that's because the Pirates were absolutely stinky. Horrible. No one was cheering for them. Like, it's not a coincidence that a lot of people in central Pennsylvania, their favorite team is like the Atlanta Braves or the Cubs, because they were always on TV too. Right? You got those two on cable, and that was it. Other than the Pirates, and you weren't cheering for the Pirates. You can only watch your favorite guy get traded so many times before you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? That's kind of what the United States men's soccer team is like. They hype up like one guy and you're like, this is the year. Bucktober's coming, baby. We got one guy. Pirates can compete. And then the United States to get the rug pull. They're like,
I feel like with soccer fans, They're like the whatever second tier to your favorite sport. It's like they want people to want Team USA to be so much better. And think of your local high school. Was your best athlete playing football or were they playing soccer? Chances are, if it was like mine, your best athletes were playing football and they weren't playing soccer. So it's hard to compete where even these like third world countries, that's their that's their sport. So that's what they're doing. Where with us, we're playing American football and hitting each other.
Well, see,
So I think there's a giant gap there.
that's the one thing that I think that we're going to see a shift in, because American football, the signups for high school has been in decline. And so down here, at least in North Carolina, I know a lot of like the kids that you're like, that kid's like pretty great. Oh, what's he going to decide between? It's like, oh no, he's playing soccer. And it's kind of made me scratch my head a few times, because before, I would say even 10 years ago, there's no way that like the top athletes that I've seen in the area are playing soccer. To your point, they would be playing football. And I know a good bit of kids now, they just, because of Messi and Ronaldo, that's like the talking point where it's like, I mean, that's like the Steelers Ravens now, where it's like, yo, you watching Messi and Ronaldo loses and people are cheering. Messi scores his like hat trick and everyone's like, yeah, you go to Target right now or like any of the stores, like they're making like Messi has his own jersey line, which is insane. And he's playing MLS in the United States. Because I've said, heck, at this point, I never saw Jordan in person like growing up, right? Pittsburgh didn't really have a basketball team, wasn't going to any NBA games. But if Messi comes up like anywhere nearby and plays up here, it'd probably be worth it to go try to see him once, right? Best player. He's not even that tall. He's like 5'7". So he's on like, he's on every kid's dream. They're like, dude, I could be that guy. Right? I'm thinking like all soccer players are like 6 foot tall. And then they're like, no, Messi's like really tiny man. And then he was like on growth hormones to make sure that he grew in his development. United States isn't doing that. They're not saying like, hey, you know what? They'd probably make the parents pay for that privilege. Because that's what the story was in Argentina. His parents had to pay for his like treatments and they couldn't do it. And the team in Barcelona said, hey, we'll pay for your son's treatments if you give us his rights or whatever. And over there, if he goes pro from that club, the pros pay the club. Like they pay the academy. Think of it as kind of like minor league baseball, where they're owned, like they're not really owned, but they pay by the player as part of like a fee or whatever. So the parents aren't paying the fee for them to play. Over here, I know people that have paid like, oh, my kid's on three baseball teams, bro. Traveling, paying like thousands of dollars for each team. He's doing triple headers. It's like, you think he's into that? Right? I don't know any kid that's like, you know what, I don't want to play like, it's a really rare that I think the kid has to have the drive and the talent. And even then, it's like, it's still like a moonshot to have that happen. So for us, like having, because even some of the players, like you put LeBron out there, is he going to be good at soccer? I mean, he has the flopping down, but like, what would he be good at? Like maybe a goalie, right? I mean, our goalie stunk. He pretty much cost the game. And then like our best defender is like a 38-year-old guy. That's like my age, bro. That's the best you can find. Like we're getting into like Aaron Rodgers territory there. Like people are making fun of the Steelers for having a guy that old. Why does our men's team have a guy that old playing defense? Get some young guys in there.
There's a politician getting a favor. Hey, let my 35-year-old grandson be on the team.
Well, that's what a lot of the parents have money and they're like, why isn't our team doing any good? We have all these like rich parents paying for their kids to play soccer. It's like, yeah, but just because they have money doesn't mean their kid's going to be good. Right? like some small team in like college pulling out like a Randy Moss. I know he went to Florida State first, right?
Yep.
But like him ending up like at Marshall or like Antonio Brown at like Central Michigan, there's really no pathways until the NIL starts to really hit high school, which is starting to slowly roll out. And I know a lot of people are against it. I'm 100% for it because you put kids at like a public school where the coach is getting paid nothing, like next to nothing to volunteer. Your kid's not going to be developed, right? Heck, even me coaching soccer, they gave us plans of like, you should do this. It's like, okay, but I'm not going to be playing like these weird, like friendship games. Like we're only doing the drills. And then your team can easily be better prepared than every other team because they're not doing like what the parents, to me, if parents are paying to have their kid coached, I'm not wasting their parents' time or money. But I don't think a lot of the other volunteer coaches think like that. Right?
Yeah.
How many of them are going to say it's not even about winning? It's just about like, hey, if I can get you guys to understand the game better, or like, hey, go play the soccer video game. I think we brought in the numbers from the video games, right? Where my mind was blown how much more the EA version of Football Club or whatever they call it now, it's not FIFA, they lost that license, was downloaded compared to basketball, compared to Madden, and compared to like even college football, which I wanted to bring that in because the college football game just launched and they're supposed to be having a mobile version of it. I don't know if that came out this year though. Let me double check. Because it's supposed to connect to your Ultimate Team or whatever. I was trying to do some research. I downloaded the FC version and Madden from last year. And I was going to download the mobile versions and then compare it to the college football this year. And then with like Google Play, you can actually see how many people downloaded the app. It's free. So having like the soccer one get downloaded over 1 billion times or whatever it was, that's how many more kids are going to know how to play soccer or at least know the rules a little bit from playing a video game, because you're going to learn it. You can either learn it from playing, watching on TV, I guess reading the rule book. No one's going to do that. Or like playing a video game version where, if it's realistic sim, you're going to have that opportunity. And so I'm curious to see how much the modding community can really make college football on the computer better. Because I already saw some where people had already cut out and like introduced and made a Tim Tebow version. Did you see that? The game's been out for like a week and someone modded it back. It must have been a Florida fan where they modded the entire game. They merged it with like the old 2007 version or whatever. One of the Tim Tebow ones, and they remade it so they could relive their days as Tim Tebow in the new high def. I thought, oh my gosh, how crazy, right? I wonder if Tim Tebow's like media team is Christ team, whatever he calls them. Like, yo, fellas, we need to put together a mod of the new college football game so people remember who I am. Like, yeah, let's get on it. Because it's only in beta. So who's buying the game early to mod Tim Tebow into it? You have to be like a crazy psycho fan, right? I mean, Gators have had some down years. Urban Meyer just got in the Hall of Fame, though. I was there. I paid my respects. They can go there and have it. They can go. No need to bring back Tim Tebow in a video game. But for going forward, I am curious to see how those games usually have a pulse on the youth, where it's like, hey, everyone's playing college football or everyone's playing Madden. Now a lot of kids are just playing FC. So if they're playing soccer, you're going to have a whole new generation. So everyone that's telling me I'm never going to see the United States make like a semifinal or a Final Four, I know they don't call it that in the World Cup, I think you're off base, because the kids I'm talking about were ones that like I was coaching like around 8 and 10. Those are guys that are going to be in World Cup in like 8 years. 8, 12 years, like the next 3 World Cups, those kids that have been growing up soccer first, especially because I think CTE played a big part in it. You had CTE and you had COVID, right? How many families during COVID, when everything shut down and you need your kids to leave you alone, what's the easiest sports thing to buy, bro? A soccer ball. You literally don't need any equipment. Football, yeah, go play with yourself in the backyard with a football. They can throw like through like a tire swing or something, like that's going to be it. But soccer, like you can say like go dribble down through the yard, whatever. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when there's going to be a shift. Now, will like the MLS become more popular? I think every generation people are like, horse racing is our best thing. And everyone's like, yeah, horse racing, that's never going to die. And now it's like no one watches except for like one event a year. Then they're like, boxing's the best. Baseball's the best. And everything kind of goes ebbs and flows. So then you have like Jordan in basketball and they're like, basketball's coming back. And now you have like them trying to push like the WNBA and they're trying to kill NFL, but the ratings are so high for the NFL. That's where the shift is, because the World Cup right now has been number 2 in ratings, like in terms of like average, I think for the first time ever. Where before it was always like around NBA type levels. And even with the killer ratings from the Knicks, I saw that it was clearly above college football now. And college football is number 2 for people that don't know. So it was always NFL, college football, especially like college football playoff ratings. And then you had like the NBA. Now Jordan NBA ratings are way higher, but then again, college football was way higher back then too. So like you have some other trade-offs. NHL, I don't even know if I finished bringing this in, but the Hurricanes ratings from that championship were very good. Way better than what people expected. A Vegas Hurricanes like Stanley Cup, because the games were so intense and Hurricanes were like bringing fans. And I saw that Norway, the guy that's like number 2 right now in goals scored in the World Cup, he was a big Canes fan. He was at the game this year. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but they were posting pictures of him after he scored down here. He was like on the news. They're like, yeah, there's our guy. United States is out, but now we're cheering for Norway, baby, because he's a Hurricanes fan. I'm like, let's go for it. I don't know who else to cheer for right now, right? My boy Ronaldo's out. Messi almost went down. Like, I don't really want to see England win, right? It's funny when a team loses like their favorite sport. It's like watching like a Notre Dame fan where they're like, yeah, this is our thing. Is it? When?
I thought it was funny that you had sent that list of like the comparisons of World Cup teams to college football.
Yeah.
And it played USA as Texas A&M like absolutely perfect.
I know. I don't even know where that came from. I had people sending me that. They're like, yeah, this is like who I'm rooting for. And I was like, okay. And I was like looking to see if they had like a tag on it. But I sent it to you because Florida State wasn't listed. And yet they had found a way to like put Ole Miss in. So I'm like, this has to be an SEC type thing. Because Florida's in there. Like, yeah, Florida, yeah. Oh, Florida used to be relevant. But like Nigeria, they're never relevant, dude. They were not winning championships. Florida at least is winning championships. Right? Miami's in there. They had Clemson in there. Like, oh yeah. Clemson had a run though. But it made me laugh that they had some of them in. Michigan, with our national championship, we got the respect now. Well, we're not in that dreaded like category of teams that, hey, they used to be good. Right? Because they have 2 modern national championships, 97 with Chuck Woodson, and now 23 with Blake Corum, baby. That's top notch. Now you can't be denied. Like Notre Dame, every time they show up, they get slaughtered. So it's funny to make fun of them. Who else were they? USC, like Brazil. Because I guess they said before, like Michigan used to be compared to Brazil, like someone that won like hundreds of years ago. And now we're off that list, Matt. USC can take that crown, and Notre Dame can be Uruguay. another team that hasn't been good in like 100 years. And that's the new Big Ten rivalry right there. USC, Notre Dame. Two has-beens playing it out, very similar to like Minnesota and Michigan State playing or something. Which, did you see the Michigan State's president was going to Clemson? And then like they put on a full court press and they brought him back today. Like after he was on Clemson's campus doing like a meet and greet. I mean, you probably didn't see it because like I've only seen it because I saw that Michigan State fans were mad on Twitter that he was leaving. And they were like, why don't we, like, if this guy's that good, why don't we try to keep him? And they were like, let's try to keep him after he was already like announced he was leaving. So they were like, no, we do want you to stay. And then not only did he stay, but like he went to Clemson and was like pretending like he wasn't going to stay. So now Clemson is like super annoyed, which I understand. It'd be like hiring a coach and then he's like, nope, I'm out. Like that one call, was it? I think there was a guy, one of the smaller schools in Michigan. I don't know if it was baseball. Maybe it was baseball. I don't know. I saw the story where a guy did the same thing. He took a better job, was there for like a day or two, and then was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm going back to like the old school. Sorry, guys. I'm really, really sorry that I left you guys to begin with. And like, he's like, the new recruiting thing is not me. Like, I'm not going back to the big times, not trying to jump up anymore. I'm done. Because like, imagine like, what do they put on the table to keep him? Like, bro, you can start like taking extra days off, right? Because if they're not going to be able to like pay him more money, what are the perks that they offered him? Like, we put this bed under your desk. You can just take naps in here. Like a George Costanza.
You don't have to hang out with your family.
We can get you some co-eds in here. What do you need, buddy? What do you need to stay? You're really embarrassing us by going to Clemson, because I'm sure Michigan State views Clemson as like a lesser school, right? It's like when Michigan's president went to Florida and then they denied him. And now he's like floating around like in nowhere because he like blacklisted himself. That's kind of what the Michigan State guy was doing. I saw they were saying like, no one's going to even interview this guy now. He'll take the job and then just not show up as a psych. But let's go back to, because I want to bring this point up. This is the only thing I have written down for today. Caitlin Clark, which is probably controversial. I should never bring this up on the show. But as I was digging into the WNBA thing in Raleigh, and I was comparing based on some other sports that people would say, oh, you should talk about this on the show. Like, no, I'm not going to talk about tennis or golf on the show. Right? Unless Tiger Woods is like wrecking a car or like having another affair or something that's funny, I'm not going to bring it up. So then I get in there and I'm looking at the WNBA ratings, and they are looking to expand based on new TV ratings. And I thought, their TV ratings can't be this high. This is like insane. They're like averaging like 1 million, 2 million people. Bro, Caitlin Clark herself is giving them a minimum $1 million viewer bump. So someone did a cross section of all the games that she's in. And if you take her out, the WNBA, like their average is well under 1 million viewers again. And so I don't know if you saw this, but there's been like a push for some countries like in Europe to try to bring her in to legitimize like their female sports programs. Because like that's the one beef for the Olympics right now, is that the United States wins all these medals and a lot of the other countries complain it's because of like the Title IX, where the United States has had this great women's program going for decades now. And that's why we always win in like women's soccer and women's basketball and like all these women's sports. So now with like having the international soccer and some of the countries having more eyeballs, they've been paying for some of like our other college basketball players that don't make the NBA to come play in their Europe leagues to help like do like a iron sharpens iron type deal, right? You bring in the better players to help your country system grow. Kind of like what we're trying to do with MLS when we bring in Beckham or like Messi, right? You bring in the best guy in the country or in the world to come into your league to kind of legitimize it. Well, there's been rumors that they might do that to Caitlin Clark, because the WNBA has been mistreating her, and they know they don't pay the women that much. I don't know what the leagues are to like speak on it, but I was going down a rabbit hole and I thought, this is insane. Because like if she leaves and they expand, and let's say they do pick Raleigh, I didn't even see Raleigh listed, so I don't know where this guy got that. Heck, for all I know, he could be like on a board, like trying to get them to come. I have no idea. But like, let's say they did put a team here. If Caitlin Clark were to leave, I really don't know what's going to be the draw then when one player is so much more popular than the rest of the entire league. It's literally a Tiger Woods or like Serena Williams scenario where you have one athlete that if they come back, I think like Mike Tyson to boxing, he can do a weird fake box with Jake Paul and millions of people view in and Jake Paul's like, look, I did that. It's like, you did nothing with that. He just brought in Mike Tyson. Like I could go to like WRAL down here and say like, hey, since they're bringing a WNBA team, I want to do like my own broadcast where I'm like playing one-on-one with some of the girls, and like I bring in Caitlin Clark, and then I'm like, do you see my TV ratings? And they're like, no one was there to watch you, bro. He's like a random guy. They're playing WNBA players. Get out of here. So that's where I think as the World Cup goes, I don't know how like the sport continues to grow, but if WNBA can take off because of one player, I mean, Pulisic, man, he sucked. Not going to lie. I know he's from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I like their chocolates, but that was a disappointing. He didn't even score one goal. People made fun of my boy Ronaldo. He was at least scoring in the World Cup. Pulisic did nothing except fake injuries. I don't even know if he's hurt. He crying during the game. They had to take him out. Tom Brady never would have. Heck, Ronnie Lott, didn't he bite his own finger off or cut it off?
Yeah, cut it off.
Pulisic never would have did that. And that's the one thing that I wish they would fix. Because I know you joked about like the time, like no one knows when the soccer game ends. I'll be honest. I like that better than our timeout system. I don't think we should have timeouts. Our games would end faster. Like, let's say the 2-minute warning.
You're trying to milk it, LeBron. Guess what? 10 extra minutes. Keep going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, you put the 2-minute warning in because everything's driven by TV. So, like, let's say the college football game, because they always talk about like concussions. Let's say you play, you cut it down from like 15 minutes. Like, let's say you did 12-minute quarters or something. 15 minutes with a running clock or something. But like each half then you had a 2-minute warning, but then they could add extra time. So like guys get injured or whatever. You just say like, all right, we're having a running clock. The game would be so much more interesting. And then if you're like, oh man, Tom Brady's not going to get the ball, they're going to run out of time. And they're like, that one game, they're like adding 11 minutes. And I think it was an England game. They're like down a player. And Mexico was like, I thought, oh my God, they want Mexico to win this game. Why did they add 11 minutes? That's insane. Like, oh, every other game is like 5 minutes, 3 minutes. They're like 11. Get it done, boys. And then they still couldn't get it done. Because like having a man down, awesome. Could you imagine if you did that from like head-to-head hits? Like you have like Burfitt whenever he took out AB. Like, boom. He is out, and then the Bengals had to play a man down in the playoffs. I mean, didn't Notre Dame try that against Ohio State where they only had 10 men on the field and it didn't work out? So you have a little bit of a preview of it. And that's one of your top minds, Matt Freeman. Can't even get the right guys on the field. Right number of guys. Can't count to 11 at Notre Dame. But here, I think having that is the one thing that that would make even basketball better. Because that's the thing I like about hockey. There's no extra time. But like do they have timeouts? I mean, they have like the TV timeouts. That's pretty much it. And in basketball now, there's zero reason for them to have like 16 timeouts. What's the coach saying in the timeout? Hey, let's get it to LeBron. Right? I could coach. Hey, LeBron's in his prime, guys. Wade, you're throwing it to LeBron. Bro, he's like literally bigger than everyone else out there. LeBron, if they touch you, flop too. They seem to give you fouls when you do that. Like, all right, thanks, coach. All right, that's it. We still got 60 seconds here. And what else you guys thinking about? What are we doing after the game? Going out for steaks? LeBron, if you miss this, bro, you're buying for the team. Because, yeah, what else are they going to talk about? There's like some of the timeouts. Because for basketball, I think you can pick between 30 seconds and like a 2-minute timeout or whatever. Or like a full minute. Why? You don't need that. Coach isn't like scheming up like he's in war. Like in the Revolutionary War days where he's like, all right, we gotta figure this out here. We're getting slaughtered. Cut that out so that I know when the game's going to end. I shouldn't be able to watch an entire, what did I say, that one game when the Knicks were playing. I watched like the entire extra overtime for a World Cup game, and the same time it took 7 minutes to run off an NBA Finals game. Insane. That should never happen. But is there anything else you want to talk about this week?
I mean, it's the dust is kind of settled, but I think we talked a little bit about the Sixers' big trade with the Celtics. Paul George going over.
Well, is LeBron going to go there? To the Sixers?
That seems to be a pretty heavy claim. I would be surprised if he actually does. I mean, I don't think that him going there does anything for them.
Yeah, but he's so big and good still that having a guy, because that was my beef when the Celtics were talking about getting rid of Brown. This has been going on for people that don't follow the Celtics. This has been going on for years. I don't know why the front office didn't like him. He was NBA Finals. I think he was like the MVP. Like Tatum hasn't really shown up. So having Tatum and Brown, neither of them were like closers. I know the Celtics have had the best record or whatever they said.
But they said like Brown's argument was that he felt like he was that number one guy and never had that opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like, he's on the team. Tatum was hurt. He had the opportunity. He never really stepped up. And then he was always like complaining about it. And so I feel no love lost. Like, get him out of there. Okay, all right. Now what happens? The Celtics are in like, horrible trade though. Like, if you're getting another quality player, and I like Paul George, but Paul George is old now. And he's not, I thought he was going to be to save money. He's not that much money less. It's like $3 million difference. So there's like really no way for that trade to go through. It makes no sense. I know what Brad Stevens is like. I'm like the genius. Everyone's like doing what I'm doing. He's kind of like what everyone's saying with like John Lynch as like the GM or whatever. Or they're like, he's only doing like great moves. And then after a while, it's like, oh no, a lot of his moves ended up sucking. That's kind of where I'm at for like Brad Stevens. Like the Celtics they haven't had enough to get over the hump. He put together a team with guys that like they promote as superstars, but it's almost like whenever Michigan or Notre Dame has like a September Heisman, it's like some teams just have such a big fan base that it doesn't matter like what the competition is. They're like, that guy's great. He's really beating up on these patsies out there. We should put him in for the Heisman. And then then the season goes on and you're like, oh, he's not good enough to win at like the high level. It's very men's soccer for the United States, where like they hyped up Pulisic. They said, yo, this guy's going to be the guy. We know he's not as good as like Messi, but he should be able to score some goals. And when he doesn't score or really do anything, it's like, all right, well, that's where the weakness is for the men's team. The best guy on the team did nothing. Horrible. Right? You have these other guys that are like the third best player on Belgium taking one over in like the last minute of the game, stealing it and putting the game away. Like that should never happen. Like Egypt tried to do that against Argentina today. And then they stopped attacking. And I thought, all right, you can clearly see that Argentina has the better team, and that's what the Celtics haven't really had. Yeah, the championship run was great, but like Luka had that Mavs team in the finals, that was a gift. That was a gift. And I'm circling back to the Caitlin Clark thing, but the UConn coach, that Gino guy, such a douchebag, right? And I know he's like trying to promote his own team or whatever, but him like calling out Caitlin Clark and saying like that she's not the face of the league or whatever, and then
everyone's trying to say that that's true. Literally every metric. Like, I think one of the funnier things I saw is that they said, like, they had the press, they had like 3 or 4 different other people that were like voting on top players of the league, and she was like relative top 5. And then there was like the players vote, and she was number 11. It's like, how do you have her ranked that far? Like, you look at every game, the median attendance is like 8 to 10,000, and then she shows up and it jumps to like 30. It's like, they're not there to see you. Like, there's clearly one person they're there to see.
Well, that's where I looked at his comments, and he was comparing her to Wemby, saying that like people tune into the NBA to see him. And yeah, the Spurs ratings are a little bit higher, but he's no LeBron, right? So like, you should just compare him who it is. Like, people tune in for LeBron still. That's why the Sixers should get him, because he could take a team like the Cavs and turn them into a legit winner. He could go to the Warriors next. That was the other team that was like trying to get him after their like reset, where you don't want the Sixers team to get close where they are right now. They get Brown. He's the finals MVP. And you get LeBron that plays just a slightly different position and can take some pressure off Embiid that's always hurt. And then the Sixers would easily be the favorite. Why would you risk having him go to the Warriors or somewhere else where then they become the favorite?
The only scenario where I see that him going there helps is that he's done so much team building with multi-star players of like trying to do the super team route, that like maybe he's one of those people that understands the dynamic of the big personalities that can manage it. But typically, I haven't seen a lot of these super teams mass produce the outcomes that people think that they will. Like, they thought originally when he was in Miami that they were going to win like infinity number of championships, and it wasn't the case.
But you only need one. It's the same thing that Michigan basketball is going through right now. Coach left, right? He went to the NBA. Everyone predicted, well, the team's going to fall apart. All the players now that I've been seeing are saying they're coming back. Like, all it takes is one championship for, and I guess with the new like GM type thing, to say like, hey, the Sixers are a destination now. Like, we know LeBron retired. We won that one championship. But they can say like, hey, we've won a championship. We're going to be one of the premier programs. And that's why I think a lot of the teams in the West, when they kept saying like, oh, you have all these great teams out here, and they weren't really winning championships. And then when you start having multiple different teams win one championship, then it really legitimizes it. It's like now having the Knicks win one, if the Sixers can win one. And then you have the Celtics win one, and then like, I don't know how many years ago was like the Raptors, but like you get a bunch of different teams in the mix, and then it's going to help like every team in that group like raise up and be better. Other than that, you're just like, oh, we used to be good, like a bazillion years ago. And that's like looping in the college thing. Dusty May leaving, and I've had people talk trash and say like, every time Michigan wins a championship, the coach leaves. It's like, yeah, but with the new NIL, it's actually better for fans because now players aren't leaving. That's the one thing everyone says, like, well, your entire team's gone. That hasn't been happening, because if you have a GM system, players are actually committing now to the school. They're not committing there just for a coach like they used to, where a coach leaves and then everybody and their brother are transferring with that new coach, like Signetti. When he left JMU, they all went to Indiana with him and ended up winning a national championship. NIL might be the end of that. And fans have been crying for that for years. Oh, I wish so-and-so player had loyalty to our school. I hate him now. Why would he transfer out? Now,
that always cracks me up because it's like, if you're working at your regular job and somebody else is going to pay you more money and give you better benefits, would you stay for loyalty at your minimum wage pizza job, or are you going to go to this new fancier place to give you more money? Like, it's a business decision.
Well, it's the same with like the coaches leaving. Okay, let's say you're at your job and your boss leaves, and then they're like, "Hey, yeah, we know that we're going to go through some changes, but we're going to end up just giving you a little bit of a raise if you want to stay." Yeah, you're going to take the raise. Right? I mean, you could go for another job. Maybe some people do, right? You could transfer out, try to find a better deal. But a lot of times, those roster spots are already filled up now. And so having a team and guys that have won the championship last year say, oh, no, we're coming back. We want to win another one for Michigan. Like, I don't know how, other than rival fans, I don't know how any Michigan fan, no matter who ends up coaching our team, whether we go with an interim or they bring someone in, because I think right now, like if you're starting to like talk to other coaches, like because I see Billy Donovan's available, John Beeline, he hasn't been coaching. If you bring in a guy for a stopgap 1 year, and you have the GM lock up a top 10 roster, because I think all the top guys have reaffirmed, that's an easy selling point for a guy that you're going to bring in for like, hey, we need you to do stopgap for Dusty May, or you let the interim roll it for a year, and if they end up winning big, then you bring him back full time or whatever. You don't. I think it's kind of tough. You don't want to Sharon Moore, because that's what the football thing is. They just went through that where they were like, well, we'll do the continuity, and he's a great recruiter, and then he's also great at sliding into DMs, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Didn't come up in the interview. So you got to like kind of be a little bit iffy. But I think that's a great selling point for a school, or even like circling back to the Sixers, man. Having a winning pedigree, some teams have it, and like it's tough to build up. Like to me, I don't remember the Chiefs ever winning until Mahomes got there, and now everyone considers them to be a destination. All it takes is one, and then if you can build off that, now some teams don't build off it. You win one, you go back down, and then whatever. But at least you had the one. I think the Sixers should take that chance. I mean, Philly, the Eagles, they have the Eagles, though. So they do know winning there now. The Flyers, though, Flyers can keep losing. I don't care about them. I really don't care about the Sixers either. I wish AI would have won one. Like, AI is another type of guy where he grew up and he got identified just because of his talent, where now I think this day is going to be a lot harder for that to happen. But for NIL, like high school, he might not have had it so rough, right? If he'd have been able to get in and get paid, and like I think that might elevate some guys up, and maybe some guys will burn out, right? But at least you find out before they're like going into the NFL and like going crazy, losing all their money, and then like killing themselves, and then trying to get their brain study for CTE. Like that one guy, did you see that? He came back for CTE. I forget who it was, but he's like 24 or something. I thought, man, that's crazy. You need to have at least some family support. But did I say all my Caitlin Clark things? I keep talking about Caitlin Clark because it's been annoying me. The more I look into like the World Cup and everything, just seeing someone that's so undervalued, it's kind of weird. Like it's a weird thing where, when WNBA is like better than this sport or that sport, you guys should talk about this sport on the show. It's like, I don't even really want to talk about Caitlin Clark anyway. We're not really a basketball show. Like we'll throw in some NBA talk here and there, but in college basketball, but like outside of that, it's got to be tough when you have your best player, and maybe not stat wise. I don't know that, but that's the one thing with the veterans thing that they were trying to push, where they said like, well, the league should only advertise like vets, right?
Wow.
That's what I don't understand.
Just so stupid.
Like Malachi Toney from Miami is a freshman. Bryce Underwood was good and hyped, right? Ohio State had Jeremiah Smith. Like, could you imagine if they were like, hey, fellas, you got to wait till you're like a junior? Like back in like the old school like days where it's like, got to take your mandatory red shirt and then we're not going to like play you. You can only have like one catch. We'll sit you down, Smith. And then you can like sit behind someone else you're probably better than. And then we'll see how it goes. Because like there is a real time when Tony at Miami would have done nothing. Right? He never would have played.
Yeah.
And now he's supposed to show up at AB's event. Did you know that? That's how you know Miami's ready. Bro, if he's already getting mentored by one of the greats, he's going to be ready to play next year. Miami's definitely not going to implode at all. But that's all I had. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.